They walked off that field in Baltimore with a win. The scoreboard said 3-1. The standings said they were still holding on to that top wild card spot. But if you were watching closely, if you know this Yankees team, if you know what this rotation has been through all year, you already felt it. That sinking feeling. Because buried underneath the celebration, underneath the highlight of a ball rocketing off Trent Grisham's bat into the New York night sky, there was a name missing from that mound. And it wasn't missing by accident. It was missing because the worst fear of this Yankees season just came roaring back, on the exact same week they thought they'd finally turned a corner. Before we get into what really happened here, and just how bad this could get for New York's championship hopes, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because this story is moving fast, and you are not going to want to miss what comes out of the Bronx over these next few days. Now let's rewind, because to understand how big of a gut punch this is, you have to understand the year the Yankees pitching staff has already survived. This was supposed to be the season everything finally lined up. 3 ace-caliber left-handed and right-handed arms, all under one roof, all healthy at the same time, for the first time since the front office went out and spent a fortune building this rotation. Garrett Cole was supposed to anchor it. Carlos Rodón was supposed to be the proven championship-tested lefty in the middle. And Max Fried, the free agent they poured resources into, was supposed to be the steady, dependable workhorse who 8 innings and gave this team a chance to win every single time he touched the ball. On paper, it was the scariest rotation in baseball. In reality, this team has not been able to keep all 3 of those pitchers on the mound together for one single stretch of games all year. Cole opened the year still working his way back from a serious arm procedure. Rodón, who signed to be a foundational piece of that staff, went down in early July with inflammation in his own throwing elbow and didn't see the mound again for close to 6 weeks. And Fried was the one who was supposed to be the safe one, the reliable one. Then, in the middle of the season, disaster struck. He went down with a bone bruise in his left elbow, the kind of injury that doesn't heal on its own timeline, the kind that can linger and come back to haunt a pitcher for months. That first stint cost him more than 2 full months of the season. 2 months of a Yankees team fighting tooth and nail for playoff positioning, without one of the arms they were counting on the most. When Fried finally did come back in late July, it looked like the storm had passed. He made 5 starts. 5 outings where he looked like the pitcher New York thought they were getting. Across those starts he posted an earned run average under 2, a strikeout rate that would make any front office smile, and results that suggested the worst was behind him. Fans exhaled. Analysts started talking about the Yankees finally getting their fully loaded rotation into the stretch run, right as October baseball started to come into view. And then came his last outing against Seattle. He battled 5 innings, 1 run allowed, for strikeouts, grinding through a tough Mariners lineup in a game the Yankees would ultimately lose 1-0. On the surface, nothing alarming. But something was building underneath the surface that nobody outside that clubhouse fully understood yet. Because just days later, right as the Yankees were about to open a massive series in Baltimore, right as the team was gearing up to officially welcome Carlos Rodón back from his own injury nightmare, the news dropped. Max Fried was headed back to the injured list. Same location. Same diagnosis. A bone bruise in that same left elbow that had already cost him 2 months of this season. The timing could not have been crueler. One lefty was walking back onto the mound after nearly 2 months away, and on that exact same day, another lefty was being told to shut it down and walk away from the rotation he had just fought his way back into. Inside the organization, the messaging was careful, almost too careful. The team's manager described what Fried is dealing with this time as low-level inflammation stemming from that bone bruise, not a fresh, more serious break in the bone itself. Sources close to the situation pointed to one silver lining that Yankees fans clung to almost instantly, This time, the team did not place him on the longer, 60-day injured list, the kind of move that would have mathematically ended any hope of a return this season. Instead, they went with a shorter 15-day designation, a signal, intentional or not, that somewhere in that front office, there is still hope this is a shorter setback rather than a season-ending disaster. Team insiders and reporters covering the club describe the front office as quietly optimistic that because they caught this recurrence early, before it snowballed the way it did back in May, Fried might avoid another 2-month absence entirely. But here's the part that should terrify Yankees fans if they're being honest with themselves. This is the same injury, the same joint, the same elbow that already broke down once under the stress of a full big league season. Medical experts who have weighed in on cases like this describe recurrences of a bone bruise as not unusual, but they also make one thing clear. Every time that area gets aggravated again, there's a growing question of whether a pitcher's body can simply hold up to game after game of maximum effort throwing without breaking down in the same spot. And for a pitcher already at 32 years old, in the middle of a long-term, big-money contract that stretches years into the future, that is not a small concern. That's the kind of concern that keeps a front office up at night. Because remember, this isn't just about the next 15 days. This is about October. This is about the plan New York had been building toward for months, a projected playoff rotation fronted by their ace right-hander, their emerging Cy Young contender, and Fried rounding it out as a battle-tested championship arm. That vision, the one this front office spent an off-season and a fortune trying to build, is now hanging by a thread for the second time in a single season. If this recurrence behaves anything like the first one did, insiders have openly floated the nightmare scenario that Fried might not see the mound again in a Yankees uniform until the World Series itself, if the team is lucky enough to even make it that far. And yet, somehow, remarkably, this team keeps finding a way to win anyway. That same night the news broke about Fried, the Yankees still went out and beat Baltimore 3-1. Trent Grisham was the story of the game, blasting a solo home run early, and then coming back with a 2-run single that put the game away late. Carlos Rodón, back from his own long absence, gutted through 4 innings in his return start, allowing a home run, but battling through it in his first outing back on a big league mound in nearly 2 months. The bullpen slammed the door the rest of the way, riding contributions from multiple relievers before the closer came in and locked down the save, extending New York's winning streak and keeping their grip on that top wild card position in the American League. It was their second straight win. On paper, a good night. In reality, a night where the good news and the terrifying news arrived at the exact same moment, wrapped together in one confusing, emotional 24 hours for this fanbase. So now the questions start piling up. Does Boone lean harder on the arms, who have already stepped up while Fried, and the rest of that rotation try to find their footing? Does the front office start scanning the trade and waiver landscape for reinforcements before the stretch run gets even tighter? Can this pitching staff, which has quietly posted the lowest earned run average in all of baseball despite this avalanche of injuries, keep pulling off this same magic trick for another 6 weeks with pieces constantly rotating in and out? And maybe the biggest question of all, when October actually arrives, will Max Fried even be healthy enough to take the ball, or will this Yankees team be forced to chase a championship without one of the very arms they built this whole roster around? Nobody outside the training room knows the real answer yet. Not the fans. Not the beat reporters camped outside that clubhouse every single day. Maybe not even the Yankees themselves. What we do know is this. For the second time in one season, this team's championship window is being tested by the exact same elbow, the exact same pitcher, and the exact same fear that they thought they had already put behind them back in July. The Yankees are winning right now. But winning with a shadow hanging over the rotation is not the same as winning with confidence. And as this season barrels toward its final stretch, that shadow is not going anywhere until Max Fry proves, one more time, that his body can hold up when it matters most. That is where things stand right now, and we will be tracking every single update on this story as it develops, because this is one of the biggest swing factors in New York's entire season. Before you go, this video is based on ongoing reports from credentialed sports journalists, official team statements, and publicly available injury updates as of this recording. Injury timelines and roster decisions can change quickly, so always check official team channels and trusted beat reporters for the very latest before drawing conclusions. This video reflects commentary and analysis, not medical fact or insider confirmation beyond what has been publicly reported. Channel safety disclaimer, on-screen text, overlay at start of video. This video is a commentary and news recap production based on publicly reported sports journalism, official team statements, and licensed broadcast reporting. All opinions expressed are commentary and analysis for informational and entertainment purposes only. This is not medical advice, and no claims are made about any individual's private medical condition beyond what has been publicly reported by credentialed news organizations. All footage, images, and clips referenced belong to their respective copyright holders, MLB, YES Network, ESPN, Team Broadcasts, etc., and are used, where applicable, under fair use for commentary, criticism, and news reporting purposes.